assessment on this because this is an interesting topic. It's come up a lot, and there's actually research on this. And I thought that it would be interesting as a form of financial consciousness to sort of talk about what I've seen and what's out there in terms of what the science actually says, not what some YouTube influencer says or what the manosphere says or what the womanosphere says, but really what the research says. It's really interesting, because if you ask that question, does it matter if she makes more than her man? Um, I'm going to say that I think it kind of does. I'm going to give you kind of a precursor to the answer to that question. A lot of studies in science shows that it can be disruptive to a relationship, especially a traditional relationship, if the woman makes significantly more than the man. And so what I'm going to do is sort of provide you all with some research and science behind this topic and some thought, just some points of thought, just some points of reflection, just something to kind of meditate on to heighten your financial consciousness. And then I'm going to throw in kind of a Dr. Boyce perspective in terms of a recommendation on two routes you could take to kind of deal with this issue if it ever emerges. I'm going to say this in the very beginning. My wife is not a broke woman. She had money when she married me. She makes money now, and I cheer her on to make more money, and I love it. I love it when my wife makes more money. Not maybe more than me. She doesn't make more than me. I am the one who makes the most money, and that does make a difference. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't, but at the same time, I'd like to believe that it wouldn't matter. I think that what would matter though is if I made no money or if I just was heavily dependent on her. And let's say and I think it would matter to her if I not only made less money, but I wasn't even working. I wasn't really sort of trying because really that's a reflection of character. That kind of speaks to what did I marry? What kind of person am I dealing with? And so I think that there are a lot of variables that go into that whole simple question of does the money matter? Or and so what I want to share with you all first and foremost is this. Okay, someone says they can't hear me. Give me a quick yes if you can hear me. Everybody, give me a yes real quick if you can hear me. Okay, I just want to make sure the audio is good. Okay, thank you, Denise and April and David Green and Marilyn and Pat. Okay, good. All right, so whoever said they can't hear me, I think you may want to check your sound. But then again, if you can't hear me, you probably didn't even hear me say check your sound. So, so I'm gonna do my best to be supportive. All right, so here's what where the science and the research. Actually, before I get to the science and the research, let me go to this interesting video that was done. You guys know that we support women on our platform. We have a whole platform called Fly Nubian Queen, which has about 500,000 people on it, and it was something that we just put together to support the voices of women because I feel like women should be heard more in our society. I think we should listen to smart Black women. And so these smart Black women on Fly Nubian Queen, they do this show called Fly Nubian Money, and they talk about all areas related to money, and relationships are really deeply connected to money. As I've mentioned to you all in a lot of occasions, health, wealth, and relationships kind of go together, and they all affect each other. And so when you can't really talk about relationships without talking about wealth, because wealth is one of those things. Wealth and income, or the ability to have the basic resources that you need to survive, is one of those lower vibrational areas that or those baseline areas that have to be resolved before you can get to the higher levels. If you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs speaks about sort of how you start from the beginning. You start from the bottom where you just need food and water. And then after you achieve food and water and basic resources, then you start seeking things like security. So you'll give up your security and safety to get food and water. And so if you're broken, you're struggling, you have no place to live and things like that, you're worried about homelessness, then this is why sometimes you'll see kids out in the street taking penitentiary chances just so they can get a couple of dollars in their pocket. You'll see maybe women in situations that they should not be in with men in order to get those basic needs met. I'm going to go and I'm going to sleep with this guy who might, kill me so I can pay the rent to feed my babies because I'm at that bottom rung. I'm vibrating on that low frequency. My consciousness has just been pushed down to the point where I have to deal with the things at the bottom before I can get to the higher level needs like security, and then there's like esteem and validation and love and self actualization and all these other things. So really, part of economic consciousness, in case you don't know why we do economic elevation and financial consciousness every morning, which you do this every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, in case you don't know, is because I want you to really understand those basic basic financial vibrational instincts and issues that have to be resolved so you can rise to the level you deserve to be at. Because a lot of us can't operate on a high frequency because we're kind of stuck in a world that keeps us on that bottom rung. In fact, I saw this video by the late Charlie Munger, who just, he was 90 something years old. He worked right next to Warren Buffett. He was worth billions of dollars. He's a real interesting guy. And he had a lot of really interesting things to say. And one thing he said that I thought was great, I love getting wisdom from the elders. I really do. And he said that a lot of people are unhappy. And a lot of the reason they're unhappy is because they're looking around at what everybody else has. They see a lot of people that have more than them. And so rather than being happy about the fact that you have more than your grandparents had, he said in the Great Depression, we were really struggling. He said, we weren't as unhappy as you are. He said, you have 6,000 times more than we have, but yet you're unhappy because you're looking over at somebody else and looking at what they've got. And so I thought that was just the best wisdom in the world, because a lot of us can't even find our happiness because we're not conscious of the things we have in our own life. We're not conscious of our blessings.